All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Commissioner Weiss, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. First item on the agenda is to approve our agenda.
Move.
Second. Motion by Weiss, second by Dinger. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. This time we'll open the meeting up for any public comments. Anyone wish to address the commission this morning on any topic that isn't on the agenda? Good morning.
Morning. My name is Joe Kraft with the County Assessor's Office, and I would like to introduce the Director of Equalization, Gene Leschke. He is a huge advocate and supporter of the South Dakota Army National Guard, and with myself being a member of that, Gene has really showed his patriotism and things for being understanding with my service and the duties that come with that. And I would really like to acknowledge Gene this morning for being so supportive of myself and the community and our office as a whole, and being such a great leader that he is. And I just would like to really show my appreciation to him this morning. And having said, I've got my good friend Mike Herman here, and let him take it from there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So as a retiree, I get the privilege and the honor of sometimes going out and recognizing people. So I'm a Department of Defense volunteer with the ESGR committee. And so, you know, we have several hundred service members in northeast South Dakota, but it's a little scary because only about a handful of them a year recognize their employer for the great job that they do. So being a service member, it's like a three-legged stool. You know, the service member has to commit to the service that he's going to do. His family has to be behind him and support him in what he does. And the other part is the employer, because without the employer's part, it's just not going to work. And so when these guys, the service members, do what's called an SRP, they get updated once a year for all their records and get ready for mobilizations if needed. They can nominate somebody. And so Joe took a step, and like I said, this is only the sixth time I think I've done it this year. So Joe took the steps needed to recognize Gene. So I want to just take a minute and read this off, please. Office of Secretary of Defense Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve recognizes Gene Leschke, Brown County Equalization, as a patriotic employer for contributing to the national security and protecting liberty and freedom by supporting employees' participation in America's National Guard and Reserve forces. So with that said, I'd like to present this certificate as well as this plaque to you, and then there's some propaganda, there always is in the military. So if I can get you to come out here, please.
Sure.
So anyway, so present that to you, so you can put that on your desk. This is that certificate that can go up just talking about the county support of the Guard and Reserve propaganda.
Okay.
And then, of course, you got a pen and a pen. So
Joe,
anyway,
you
thank you very much for everything.
All right, you
guys.
Look this way, photo op here.
Oh.
Good stuff.
Perfect, thanks again.
Congratulations, Gene. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Job well done. Thank you.
Appreciate it. We're happy to be part of that, so.
Thanks, guys. Anyone else wish to address the commission this morning? Seeing and hearing none, we will move on. Next up, discuss the annexation of the fairgrounds. This is a topic that has been talked about numerous times over a lot of years, and there's been several times in the 17 years I've been a commissioner that I've been approached with the idea, and I know other commissioners have as well, even before my time. With the current makeup of our city council, the mayor that currently sits in that seat, our city manager, the makeup of the Brown County Commission, we've had extensive talks this year trying to come to a conclusion on what the annexation of the fairgrounds would look like. We've met several times as a group, county, city, and we think we've come up with an idea that is workable that will benefit the county, that will benefit the city. And how it works is, the city will pass an ordinance, basically, allowing the annexation of the fairgrounds. The county then, in turn, will submit a request to have the fairgrounds annexed. And then it will be voted on by both city council and the commission, at their separate meetings, and we'll move forward in that manner. The contract that has been drafted was primarily drafted by City Attorney Ron Wager. He's done extensive work on studying South Dakota codified laws to determine what is and isn't allowed. There was some skepticism on whether we could get it done in a way that would allow for de-annexation if the plan just plain didn't work out. The state's attorney has sat in on those meetings. We've come to the conclusion that the contract that we have drafted and that we will work towards when we each pass our own ordinances is workable. It'll benefit the county, and how it will benefit the county. In addition to the 4.2 current sales tax that's collected at the fairgrounds for different events, the camping during the fair, other events throughout the year. The fair is the big one, obviously, but the State Department of Revenue currently collects 4.2 on different goods and services at the fairgrounds. By annexing it, the city will have the ability to charge an additional either 2 or 3% on top of that 4.2%, which it in turn will give back to the county. The contract calls for the county to build a city, and then the city will write us a check for whatever the taxes are, most likely on a quarterly basis. We've had several meetings with the fair manager. We met 2 weeks ago with the fair board, the Brown County Fair Board. Mayor Schoeneman and I pitched this to the fair board. The contract that we have drafted calls for being signed by the city, the county, and the president of the fair board, so that it clearly shows there's buy-in from both governmental entities, in addition to the fair board, which plays a critical role in the success of the fair. So we wanted them on board. At their meeting 2 weeks ago, they did vote to support the annexation, and so we thought that was the first important step, getting them to agree to it, explained it to them in depth. And this meeting this morning is basically to answer any questions, to get the idea out there to the public. I know there was an article in the Insider, and we thank Scott Waldman for doing a great job of painting a positive picture on what the annexation would look like, so thank you, Scott, for that. The next steps will be, again, for the city to act on it, then the county will act on it. It'll be published and so on. The goal is to try and have something in place, finalized by the first of the year. It's a logical time to start, so that we'll be collecting for all of 2026. Conservative estimates by the Department of Revenue is somewhere between $120,000 and $150,000 a year is what the county will generate in additional revenue for improvements at the fairgrounds. The contract, as drafted, states specifically that any revenue derived from these taxes has to go into our Fairgrounds Improvement Fund for improvements at the fairground, whether that be infrastructure, new buildings, new grandstands, new restrooms, improving parking lots, and anything that is an improvement at the fairgrounds. That's what that fund is for, and that's the only place that money can go. It can't go into the Brown County General Fund for use for whatever the commission decides. Again, the contract that Mr. Wager drafted, we think he did a bang-up job of covering all the bases. There's been several concerns over the years by a lot of citizens regarding different ordinances that the city imposes on city land. Noise ordinances, beautification ordinances. The contract clearly states that no city ordinances will be enforced at the fairgrounds. Control of the fairgrounds, control of the fair, control of all the events that currently and in the future take place at the fairgrounds will still be managed and controlled by the county. The current liquor license makeup at the fairgrounds. The grandstand has a liquor license for Boys and Girls Club during the fair. The racetrack has a liquor license for use during their season. The hockey group has a liquor license that they utilize during their season. All the liquor licenses that are currently in place at the fairgrounds will still be under the control of the county, sole control of the county, and so nothing will change there. The city can't step in and issue any licenses on the fairgrounds on behalf of the city. And vice versa, the city can't issue a liquor license at the fairgrounds to be moved into the city, because they have their laws and rules, that they have restrictions on the number, so the contract clearly addresses the liquor license situation. Nothing changes there. I guess the bottom line is, the simplest way to put it is, at the end of the day, nothing changes except the city will be collecting 2 or 3% sales tax on goods and services on a year-round basis. All events and whatever takes place on the fairgrounds will be taxed. The county will bill the city in turn will issue a check. That's about as simple as I can make it. Mayor Sean is in the audience. Mayor, would you like to add anything?
No, I think you did a great job explaining. I think that the concern had always really been, what happens if somebody in the future doesn't abide by that agreement? And so Ron worked in language that is going to allow you guys to de-annex, for a reason that you'd have or for no reason at all. So it's kind of a release valve for if things don't go good or somebody has issues with following the agreement into the future. So it should prevent there from ever being a situation where there's a conflict. Hopefully we can just generate those funds to improve the facilities out there. Our big purpose with it.
Again, this meeting today is more informational. We just wanted to make sure that the public was aware of what our hope to do is and how the process works, the timeline of what will happen and when. We will hold an official meeting when we get to the ordinance part, or the request to be annexed. So that'll be the time when we take a commission vote. Does anyone have any questions? Any commissioners have questions, comments, concerns? We've got the fair manager here. I should have added too, we've had a couple different discussions with the Department of Revenue. They're on board, they're in favor of this, they think it's a great idea, great way of getting some revenue to the fairgrounds. Counties across the state have been working for years to try and get an additional source of revenue. We think this is a great first step in getting some sales tax revenue back to the county that we, by codified law, are not allowed to charge. We can't charge and collect sales tax. We're still not doing that, but the city has the ability to charge, collect, and then rebate back to the county. So we look at it as a real positive for the future growth and success of the fair and the fairgrounds in general, and everything that takes place out there. We think it'll increase the amount of activity that's held on an annual basis.
Do we want
Go ahead.
to have Rachel kind of talk about some of our improvements that we're hoping to make with this money, so that people kind of know what we're doing with this money a little bit more specifically?
Sure, go ahead, Rachel.
Hopefully people can get excited about it.
Yeah, well, as you know, 2 years ago, you guys had recommended putting together a strategic plan, so we're not kind of willy-nilly doing things randomly out there. So in that strategic plan, the biggest things we're working on right now, with Becca and different partners is a 4-H building, hoping to have that done here in the next couple of years. The other big project that we've been working on and met with some folks about is the grandstand, hoping to have that done in the next 5 years. Those are the two biggest things after you guys were gracious enough last year to get that new expo roof on that we'd had identified. The third thing would be the roads infrastructure, obviously, is a huge one out there that's in that strategic plan to try to repave some roads, parking lots, things of that nature. There are other projects that are gonna pop up, obviously, and that plan is available for anybody to see. We continually update it, similar to being inspired by the head of the highway department with his 5-year plan and making sure everybody's aware and things that are overlooked can always be added. But those are the biggest things right now that we see is we gotta get them done or else we're gonna be floundering here shortly, so.
Commissioner Weiss, did you have something to add?
To piggyback off Rachel, restrooms are part and parcel with the grandstands, and they're in very bad disrepair, and so they're in desperate need and trying to find additional revenue when we're working with limited budgets on a variety of other things. And I think Chairman Sutton did a fine job of explaining the proposal and the things that have been done with it. I tried to spearhead a stab at this about 30 years ago to try and do this, and one of the stumbling blocks is state law doesn't allow councils and commissions to obligate future councils and commissions when it comes to revenue. However, with the city's willingness to enter into this, and kudos to Mr. Wagger for finding a way with this contract that basically says, you know, this is an agreement amongst parties in order to share that revenue back for this specific purpose for improvements which are beneficial to the entire region, the city, the county, the entire region, especially, you know, the big event, the fair and so forth, to do that and to, you know, basically say, you know, this is a good faith agreement that should continue, and should it not, for whatever reason, the county has the option to turn around and de-annex and change that and pull that back out of there. So I think it's a very good creative solution to doing that, and kudos to him and to the city for taking the additional effort to find a workable solution in order to make this happen. And so I personally appreciate it on behalf of the county. I think it's a good gesture and a good step, and hopefully it'll be very fruitful going forward.
Thank you. Kind words. I'm very optimistic about this thing delivering results.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Glad to answer any questions anyone may have. If not, we'll move on. We just wanted to make sure we got it out there so everybody was aware of what our plan is, what our hope is, and we think it'll be good for the future of Brown County, the city of Aberdeen, and as Commissioner Weiss said, the whole region, because we have the best county fair in the state, and we think it can only get better, so.
So our Planning and Zoning Board of Adjustments has to sign off on it, and the meeting had come and went for this month. So we're doing a special meeting next week with those guys so that it doesn't delay the process. So that'll be on the 30th, and then our next meeting after that is when we'll take up the ordinance which says that the county fairgrounds will not be held to any city ordinances, and then the agreement thereafter. So we're going to make it as quick as possible, but there is 2 weeks on the ordinance aspect of things, and we have to wait on the zoning board, but they're meeting special next week to do it.
Very good, we appreciate that. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, we will move on, and thank you,
Thanks for being here.
Thank you to the highway superintendent for being such an inspiration.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Travis.
Great to see you guys.
Thank you. Moving on, Dirk Rogers, Highway Superintendent, application for right-of-way occupancy.
Now, he's gonna want an award.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna slide over here because I found a map that kind of shows you. For the most part, it's as far as pushing the paper, it's okay, and I'm gonna recommend a right-of-way occupancy. I'm just gonna go into a little more detail on this one because it's a drainage thing, kinda. I'm saying kinda, I'm not gonna say actually, but 2002. Okay, first off, the occupancy is for Road 12W basically right where that curve's out there is where they're gonna be physically sitting, about a couple hundred feet either way, but they're gonna be cleaning out the road ditch, which doubles as our mitigated wetland. So, this is where I'm gonna give you a little history, except for Weiss. He was already old when all this happened.
Thank you.
2002. But 2002, we had to mitigate, because this piece of road here, jotted out, this was a brand-new green deal. So we had to buy all the right-of-way, and it went through part of the slough, so we had to mitigate that slough. And Lonnie Anderson came up with doing it in the road ditch. I'm gonna qualify it as saying the Corps didn't even think it would work. But because it was Lonnie, they said, we'll try it, and it was conditional, and the first inspection 2 weeks later already had aquatic grasses in it, so as far as it functioning as a wetland, it's been a champion the whole time. On this end of this, before it goes into Foot Creek, you can drive out there and see them, there's pipe in there, and they're 3 feet higher than the bottom of the ditch, and over the years, that originally was only 2 18s, I believe we're up to 3 we put in there because of a couple of events. But they're all at a set elevation, that's the critical thing, is that elevation. Let's pretend this isn't even out here yet. When the goat ranch became a housing development and went from being grass to being roads and houses and driveways and sidewalks, your drainage coefficient goes through the roof on that. Your water's clearing way faster. Well, that water came down here and went under, like through 2 5-foot pipe, I believe, that are underneath the big overhead. I can't remember, but they're big. And then it goes through a bunch of like 4-footers and 3-footers through the railroad right away, and you get down here, and it goes through our 18-inch pipe, and it's designed that way. Well, when they started this development, they drained into these sloughs down here. Turned out that wasn't enough, so they added that detention. There's a holding pond up here behind the fire station.
Right.
This is the second time I've ever had these pipe be an issue. The first time was when they did this. The second time is today. Because now they're draining this, where am I at? They're draining this, under here, into this system, and then in through all the rest of it. Now, there's been twice. One time those pipe came out in, when it rained in Aberdeen, that time.
2007.
The pipe washed out, and one other time, we took them out, because the city requested, and everything was getting overwhelmed. So we pulled them out for a little bit, let the water out, put them back in. So those are the only times we've ever messed with it. So now, there's some silting in here.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
The additional drainage, how is that coming? Is that through a structure, or?
It goes under up here.
So there's a pipe that was added into that?
What I don't know, Mike, is if it was added or improved or whatever, but this water comes over here. They do have on-site storage,
Right.
so I'm not
So
being
it's-
critical of that, but yeah, it comes over here and comes down.
So it's probably taken some of what comes north of 8th Avenue, and then the north part of that development, and bringing it over?
Of this?
Yeah.
I gotta be careful, because I haven't looked exactly how I asked them about going this way, which wasn't a possibility, and actually the shortest distance to actually bring
Right.
it to the river would be here, and then we wouldn't even be dealing with it.
Right.
But the way it is now is this, they talked about trying to get some relief right here, but it's only gonna relieve them, because all it would do is come down here and it all goes to the same.
So they're making a loop, so they're inspired by Prairie Wood as well.
Yeah.
So we're, basically, this pipe that's coming across the highway is the overflow for their pond that they put in.
Yeah, I mean, it, to some extent, but
It's gonna
yeah.
fill up the pond,
Once-
and then it's gonna come out.
It doesn't necessarily fill the pond up first, though. I mean, the pond, that's what I mean, I don't know how they got their stuff set. If your normal flow is continually leaving, or if your normal flow diverts at a certain elevation in the pond and then leaves.
They've all been changed out there.
But
Anyway, there's additional water coming in.
Right, and then the other thing they got going is the same thing we got going. We can't work because it's frickin' raining, so it's an extreme situation. Like I said, I'm gonna recommend that it's approved. I question how much it's going to improve the drainage by cleaning this out. You're not
Right.
creating any more storage, but I'm not qualified. They got PEs that looked at it, and they're doing their thing, and I, like I said, there will be a road closure when they do that, 'cause you gotta, we've tried it under traffic. We'll do it under traffic out in the
Sure.
country, but probably not here, so they'll close that road. There's only the one house in there, so they'll let those folks come in.
Local traffic,
When
but there's a
are
way
they
around.
thinking on doing this?
Probably,
Probably next month?
it'll be soon. It might even be, if you guys approve it today, whether or not they're locates, and they might be going right away.
How long for the project
It's,
roughly?
well, again, if the county was doing it, we'd be in and out of there in 4 or 5 hours.
Okay.
I'm not sure what they're talking about, and then they do need to go, where am I at here? A little further, in the wrong spot. You know, they're, part of the spot is kinda back in here. And I said, well, we don't own this, once you're out of the right of way, you're on your own for where
Right.
you're digging, so, but, I wrote a little note on there, they're responsible for the road closure. I mean, we'll help them, call
Sure.
mites and all that stuff, but, and then, I told them that's our mitigated wetland, so you can dig out of a wetland, if you take the material, set it above the high water mark, you can dig out a wetland, it's not illegal. I just said, if the Corps calls me about anything, we are absolutely held harmless on, because it's not our deal, it's done exactly what it's supposed to do. Another option for them, or for the future, if somebody wanted to re-mitigate that, which probably up to 4 acres now, but they could go and re-mitigate that somewhere else, and you could just take all the pipe out, and we wouldn't have to hold water if someone else, but we already went through the effort, so.
So that's why the pipe is higher than
Than
the lower
everything
elevation,
else.
is because the intent is that it does retain unless it all evaporates.
Exactly.
A certain amount, and there's a reason for that.
Just an overflow, basically.
Yep, and, you know, since I'm having such a good time on this topic, so that water comes down, and we have a little, like I said, there's a ditch block in there that holds the water, and then it drains out at a certain elevation. On the other side over here, that got filled, a local company filled in a wetland right next to their parking lot. So the water that would have been stored in the wetland is now stored in their parking lot. And somehow that's become the county's problem. We do have quite a conglomeration of drainage over there on 12WB where the railroad tracks are, and then our good friends at the railroad several years ago came by and shoved the pipe in there and just buried it. And,
As it can.
so we took it all out, and they came by and yelled at us and then went, oh, that works better, so. But we will be relining that pipe versus ripping the whole frickin' works out over there and redoing all the concrete and stuff that's under that right by the railroad tracks. So it's gonna cost about 20 grand to line it, but we're gonna, I'll talk about that some other day, but it's an epoxy product they put.
We're gonna extend the life of it.
As opposed to having to dig that whole one out. We don't have a lot of places to do that lining in because it's not that hard to dig out a culvert around here. We don't have deep pipe, we have like 5. But because of the location and right next to the railroad and all that stuff, I think that's a good opportunity to just line it, and hopefully that'll improve things. We're gonna have to do some more stuff to get it through here. The railroad, we've talked with them a little bit about what we can and can't do, but, I mean,
So
this whole...
the project itself, they need to do in order to increase some of the capacity of that particular part of the...
That's what they're hoping, it'll put some relief up here. But anyway, that's your history. If you wanna talk more about it, I'd be happy to, but I'll sit here and babble on about it forever. I recommend that they do it. The permit is actually coming from the developer, and I guess I'm good with what they're doing there as long as they do what they said. I have no reason to think that they won't.
And in 50 years, we'll be back, because it'll silt back in
It-
again.
and that-
But that's part of the deal.
Exactly, and there's a little bit here where we haven't done it, but it's worked for us.
Yeah.
Had this become a problem for us, we probably would have cleaned it out at some point.
Yeah, in 50 years, I'll be here for it then.
Yeah, and then, 50 years from now, and you're still here, but that will come up again. I mean, not
by
50,
design.
but let's
It's by
say-
design.
Exactly, 5 or 10 years from now, I mean, you guys know, we're holding water right here, the shit's gonna settle out, right?
Yep.
Sorry
Mhm.
about that. I'm getting better.
Yeah.
A little better.
No, it's actually a good explanation.
You answered my question was gonna be, can you dig in the designated wetlands,
So-
so you answered that.
That's, like, when people go to dig into wetlands, and when I say people, it's usually contractors, because all your cost is in your trucking the dirt away. Again, around here, it's not, there's not a huge distance or a huge elevation change to get the water out of the, get the material out of the wetland and set it up high enough so that you're above the high water mark. So if you can sit in an excavator and do that, and even better if you're out in the country and you can leave, you know, maybe just back drag the material you're throwing out on the edge there and not have to truck it out of there. When you go to clean out stuff and they have to truck it out of there because you can't throw it far enough to get it above the high water mark, then you have to truck it out. And that's when it's exponential on what your costs do then.
Kinda like we did at the fairgrounds.
Real similar. Probably a couple times, if I remember, we hauled them in, yeah.
Right.
If I can throw in a generalization, just for
Yeah.
informational purposes, and you know this very well, and most everybody else does too, but just in general, the southeast part of town, there's a water table issue. When it gets wet, there's a water level that's subgrade that comes up and creates issues. Up on the northwest part of town, there's almost impervial layer of clay below the surface. So water that goes into that part of the watershed, the northwest part of town, essentially got to move. It doesn't absorb into the subsoil. It hits that layer of clay and it's got to go somewhere. And this is just part and parcel to recognizing that water's going to have to be evacuated someplace, because it's not going to go deep into the ground there.
No.
It's going to go into the surface portion of it, and then it's going to migrate.
And then on top of that, your water table's gonna be higher, all the water, just like
Right.
a culvert, all the water underground's moving to
Yeah.
the same spot too.
Yeah, what's temporarily trapped is going to stay there. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that.
I don't know enough about like the drainage evaluations, and I'm not being critical of anything, but I just think that when a developer's gonna bring something in, we gotta go further than the road ditch. I mean, you can't come up with how you're gonna get your water to the ditch and say, okay, my drainage is done. Because here, it might go in the ditch for a while, and then it might turn and come back on you and go north, so, and I don't know, you know, I'm sure that has to be addressed, and the city would have the same type of thing, but I just laugh, we keep developing stuff and then running it through that same 18-inch culvert, you know?
Gotta go somewhere.
Yeah, so I recommend, that we approve them, the right-of-way occupancy, and, I have no problem with it.
We have a motion by Weiss,
Second.
second by Gage, to approve the right-of-way occupancy for Westlake Inc. Any further discussion?
I'll ask one question quick.
Yes, sir.
To piggyback on Mike's questioning there, what he was getting at, you expect this to be a day or two at the most? Is that fair?
If it takes you, seriously, if this takes you more than half a day, then something went wrong.
Okay.
Like you buried, and now you guys are getting wound up about the trucks going through there,
I just-
for harvest.
Yeah,
We're wound up, it was a couple questions.
And hopefully not during the month of November.
About-
These are the other.
Yeah.
So,
You answered them correctly, so there was no winding up.
In the industry.
yeah, I'm familiar.
I just wanna make sure this is not at the worst time of the year.
The
for
one thing
extended
I'm gonna
period
say,
of
Drew,
time.
on things that I expect to take half a day, we generally don't make special accommodations, with the exception of the fair or something like that, you know. Probably don't want us replacing the culverts in County 10 during the fair, I would guess. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If this was something that I expected, holy crap, we gotta retrofit the bridge and the road's gonna be closed, then you evaluate it to the point of, okay, can we do this in December, or can it wait till next year, or if it has to be done now, it has to be done now. And I'm not at all, I totally know what you guys are getting at there. The other caveat on this situation, you can still get there.
Yeah.
I just wanted to hear you say it twice is all.
Yeah, I'll say it 3 times if you want.
No, twice is good enough for me.
And then that's probably recorded.
All right, if we're good with that, I'm gonna go.
No, we haven't
go ahead.
voted yet, so
Oh,
any
I'm
further
sorry.
discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Now, department update.
Yes, still paving at Mansfield. We're getting there. We're gonna get, we went out, we pulled out to Road 2, so we went out to here. Started at Mansfield, went out to here. We don't have this ready yet, but it's a little bit of, I hate to say this, it's a little bit of a manpower issue. I ain't hiring anybody. But, so we're gonna come out here, we paved out, and then we'll get that first pull done today. Tomorrow we'll drop back and pull out, and while we're doing that, we'll pull a couple guys off, and they'll start getting this ready, so by the time we get up there, we can move the whole operation up, and then we'll finish out these last 3 miles. That's why we didn't just do the whole thing. By the time we had this first part ready to go, we're just like, all right, let's get that paved, and then we'll finish up on the rest of it. So we're doing that probably all of next week, and part of the week after we should get done, and then we'll go over to that bridge on 21, and that'll take a day maybe. It'll be more time getting it ready than it will be paving it. Probably a day to get it ready, a day to pave it. I don't see that being a big deal. Then we're gonna watch the weather. There's a few other things I wanna do, including we'll get the parking lot across the road here. And I gotta see where the money and the weather's at. There's a couple other little paving things. Warner, 281 into Warner, Fairgrounds Road, and the Hale Mile. I'm just throwing them out there. I think got more money than I do time this year, but we'll see what happens.
Okay?
And the weather will dictate time.
Exactly. Right now, we're looking good till the 16th of October before we're gonna get nervous about paving, so.
Okay.
As long as the freezing isn't too frozen, it's the exact opposite of low limits. As long as the freezing isn't too frozen,
Yeah.
we can keep going, so.
Well, thank you for mentioning the parking lot, because with the rain we had
Yep,
last week, we did get a call from the concerned citizens on the east part of our complex here,
yep,
wondering if that was still on the schedule, and we assured them that it was, just
yep.
fitting
Yeah,
it
we're
in.
just trying to, the only thing I'm wondering about there, I'm gonna visit with the city a little bit about the sidewalk and the approach thing coming in there. That's pretty trash. We'll see what we can do there, but it's all, like I said, we're finish that stuff up, we're gonna go do that bridge quick. Well, we're gonna do the bridge at a pace that gives a good quality product. And then we'll move up here and do that parking lot quick.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right, talked about that. Still got about 30 miles of striping coming, if anybody asks. Most everything, I think Road 11's the only thing that's getting striped that isn't new pavement. There's some stuff on 11 that's kinda been piecemealed over the past few years, so, but, so like 30 miles of striping. All the new stuff that we did, be what we did, that's the stuff we farmed out had the striping in the contract, so. Comment on that tile plan at the fairgrounds, that's great. I know you guys, I think y'all saw it. I just, asked Rachel, have them move the outlet, run the outlet further east up Bruckner Expressway, because we're gonna continue to fill that thing in from the west side. We're making a little progress there, but it's not a fast moving thing. They could just put that, because the way she has that drawn, or the way it's drawn, it dumps out right. You're gonna want that thing out where it isn't buried.
Farther out.
So that's my only comment, just need to move that down further, and other than that, it should be good. The gym's settling a little bit. It's just, we're down to minor flood, I think, now. But it's, the Crow Creek is an inch higher, and it's raging out of the Putney Slough. I mean, as much as you can rage in an inch, but, and the other thing is, we're still only talking 33, it's crazy that we've got it at 33, the water's at 33 inches, the gates are wide open, and the Crow Creek's at 30. I mean, usually that's happening down at 100 inches, not at 33 inches from the top.
It's just unusual for this time of year.
We got a lot of water moving through there still, we got a lot of water, but, yep, that's,
Let her go.
oh yeah. Keep our good friends up at Jamestown from, oh, there's a little headroom, let's release another 500. Jeez.
They got a plan.
We have a whole manual we follow.
Oh, yes, oh, yeah.
We don't care. Okay, that's all I had, unless you guys got some other fun stuff. Oh, that thing I went to last week, a lot of things on friction, which, you know, we're within the parameters, but on higher volume roads with curves and hills and stuff, we don't have quite the issue here. But boy, they are really getting into some crazy stuff for frictions, and most of that has to do with aggregates. And they're doing a baked clay. They take this clay and run it through what do you call we add heat, but almost like make clinker out of it. I mean, you put it in the drum and heat it up until they have this really hard, and it's a waste product. But they won't tell you where it is because the 3 counties that are or the 3 organizations using it don't want everybody out there using it. So, but and then crack sealing is the other thing. We got a crack seal machine this year, and this will be the first winter that so once we get all this other fun stuff kind of wrapped up, then we're gonna, I think on the 7th of October they're coming to show us what we're doing, and then we'll start I'm gonna go, I don't wanna call it a program yet, because we haven't got that far into it, but we will be adding then, crack sealing as another thing we'll do in our downtime. It's one of those, that's actually one that the contractors are so good and so fast that from the just pure dollar standpoint, it's a very economical thing to hire done. However, because of that, the availability of those guys, we've had some done over the years, but it's kind of gotten to where there's been such an emphasis on doing more maintenance, making it, so more people are doing it when they should be. So now that's something we can do ourselves. It's funny, we used to do it way back, but in those days, the process was a little nastier than it is now, so.
Takes a lot of toilet paper.
Yeah, it takes a lot of toilet paper. Single ply.
Yeah, well, if it's economical, it's nice to have the option to do it yourself.
Oh, it's always, and that's, as you probably noticed, I'm not gonna put us up against on cost on every single thing we do, but we can do, I mean, if we had to go mill a road and then straighten it out and repave it, I mean, we do have the ability to do it all in-house, so that's nice.
Do you have was there any, I don't know, maybe you don't hear anything, but on the Richmond Dam, do we know any updates with that? I was hearing some gossip through the grapevine about them starting this fall, but.
Nothing new. I haven't touched base with engineers in a while. I did visit with the guys designing our bridge. They were at county convention, visit with them about just the bridge, part of it, but I haven't heard anything new. I think there might have been a Richmond meeting I missed. I can't remember. That Mike was visiting with them again, but I don't know.
Well, I heard something about a Richmond meeting too, and I didn't know when it was or where it was, or I haven't heard.
I have some information I can share there. I reached out to Commissioner Greenfield about it and heard back, so.
Is anything different?
Yeah, it sounds like they are gonna lower the water levels.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna be completely drained, but it's gonna be pretty low.
Yeah, that's on the water.
To do the dam portion.
My
of it.
part of the lakes.
Yeah, it's gonna be lower than probably what a lot of residents would like, but.
You know about the Salton Sea? That's what your side will be like. Look up the Salton Sea.
Salton Sea, I'm gonna go and collect all the fishing lures out of the bottom of the lake.
There you go.
There you go.
There's an opportunity.
Yeah. Next business venture.
Use lures, I like it.
Discount prices.
All right,
I'm good.
all right, thank you for the update, Cole.
Uh-oh.
Did you see that?
Oh, yeah, I've driven through that.
12 west of Mobridge.
I don't go that way anymore.
DOT got caught.
Jesus. What blows me away is if we did that,
Oh, yeah.
it would look like tax day out here in the hallway.
I did see that, yeah, that looks horrible.
It is horrible.
All right, thank you,
Have
Dirk.
a beautiful day.
You as
Thank
well.
you.
All right,
I'm gonna
next-
take my mug so you don't have to call me later.
There you go.
Thanks, Dirk. Next up, adopt the fiscal year 2026 budget.
Okay. I gave you guys a new update on the mental illness board, because we're looking at getting that started again. So that would be a change, to what we, in the provisional we had done, so that ups it to a new total of $56,706,545.
That will be an increase over what we originally passed. 56, what was that, 56?
706, 545.
Okay. Any questions, comments on the 2026 budget?
We are planning on trying to get the mental illness board going in '26. We've got a couple people interested. Judge McNeese reached out to Rapid and got me some rates on what they pay. That's kind of what I base this off of, so.
Okay. I think it's important we do that. Something we've been talking about for quite some time now, and to get it up and running and operating.
I know that's been to a couple of those meetings, I know that's kind of the upfront cost, but there's a lot of hope to, save on the back end of not making as many transports to Yankton and not maybe holding even in our jail as long, waiting to get that done and everything, so I think there's gonna be some real life savings on the other side of that, so. And just a better service to the community in general, I think is what that'll get done too, so.
Money well
I think
spent.
it's a good thing to add, yeah.
I agree. Any other questions, comments? If not, I would entertain a motion to adopt the 2026 budget.
Move.
Motion by Weiss,
Second.
second by Gage. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, I'll get the changes made and I'll have the resolution for you to sign next week.
Very good.
Thank you.
Approval of budget adjustments.
That was the one in the
That
packet.
was it?
Yes,
Okay.
for state's attorney. It's in the packet.
Okay.
It's not changing the bottom line at all, she's just wanting to add a couple, new line items and then taking some from another line item to enter into those.
Move.
Second by Weiss, second by Dennert. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Moving on to the consent calendar. Lynn?
Approval of the general meeting minutes from September 2nd.
Move. Second.
Motion by Dinger, second by Gage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Claims and payroll.
Move. Second.
Motion by Dennert, second by Weiss. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
HR report.
Move.
Second. Motion by Gage, second by Dinger. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Claim assignment.
Move. Second.
Motion by Gage, second by Dennert.
Closer.
Before we move on that, were you going to come up with a way of just giving you the authority to approve those
Next
instead of
First
next
of the
year?
year.
That's your plan? Okay.
First of the year.
I just couldn't remember the timeline, so.
Yep.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Zoning ordinance, set the hearing date and authorize advertising.
Move. Second.
Motion by Dinger, second by Weiss. Scott, do you have a question?
The wind and data center ordinance from last week, Tuesday night's meeting, I don't have that, minor changes done yet to submit to Lynn,
Okay.
possibly by this Friday for
Okay.
next week's. And then you guys would approve the publishing, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So,
That works.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Plat, final plat for Moore First Edition to Columbia.
Move. Second.
Motion by Dennert, second by Dinger. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Christian First Subdivision.
Move.
Motion by Gage, second by Dinger. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Lowry Family First Edition.
Move.
Motion by Dennert, second by Weiss. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Assumption Outlot.
Move.
Motion by Gage, second by Dinger. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
C Family First Edition.
Move.
Motion by Gage,
Second.
second by Dennert. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Eats Night Subdivision to Richmond Lake.
Move.
Motion by Dinger,
Second.
second by Weiss. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
So double digit, is that a record?
Any other business to come before the Brown County Commission? Next, during the month of October, the courthouse will be lighted purple in recognition of Domestic Violence Month. So if you drive by at night, you'll be able to see the beauty of the courthouse illuminated in purple. And then in November, we will be illuminating it green in recognition of the veterans. I can't remember the exact wording, but it's acknowledging Veterans Month, so, because Veterans Day obviously is in November, so purple in October, green in November. Drive by at night and enjoy the beauty. Any other business? Seeing none, we've had a request to go into exec for personnel. Any legal?
I have to run up to a hearing here, so if you guys have anything for me, I could go first, but I don't have anything.
Okay. Oh, motion by Weiss. Second. Second by Dennert. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are in exec. All right. Lights back on. We're back in session, out of exec with no action as a result. Is there anything else to come before the commission this morning? I should have started with this, but I did want to acknowledge that one of the Brown County deputy sheriffs lost a brother last week, so our thoughts and prayers go out to the Evans family at the loss of their youngest brother, and we feel badly for the family, and keep them in your thoughts and prayers. So if there's nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Denner.
Second.
Second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned.